Well, hey, Erin, can you hear me?
Hi.
Okay, hey, how you
Hang on,
doing?
I'm just waiting for you to get into my earbud.
Okay.
I gotta put you in my brain for this to work. One moment, please.
Sure.
Think.
Can you hear me now? I can't hear you.
Yay!
Okay,
I
there we
hear you
go.
in
There
my
we go.
brain now. There we go. We kick it, we kick. Look at you.
Good to
Nice to
see.
meet you.
Nice to meet you too. And before we start, I want to thank you so much for your time because I know the past 2 weeks you've been incredibly busy with
I
so much for
have.
your career. And honestly, I'm so happy for you because life can be unpredictable, but in this acting career, it can be an understatement of being unpredictable. So
Yeah, it
thank you
can.
so
Well,
much.
I appreciate your patience. You were so kind and so flexible with me having to reschedule twice.
Yeah, you're
It was
fine.
very sweet of you. I'm so grateful for that because I felt really bad about having to reschedule.
You're
So
fine. You're
yeah, I
fine.
don't like doing that. I like to keep my commitments is what I like
Mhm.
to do.
I
Yeah.
respect that, but as I told the other actors that I interviewed that your time, I understand I can wait on you guys for sure because
Oh, that's sweet.
y'all made so much sacrifice in your career and it's truly inspiring that you guys continue on doing what you guys love because not many people
Thank
do that,
you. Thank you. I appreciate that. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's rainy out there right now, but
Okay.
I'm doing great. So
Where in the world are you?
Philadelphia, PA.
Hey,
Yeah.
Philadelphia. Okay, okay, okay. Definitely different. I'm definitely more West Coast for sure.
Oh
But
yeah.
I'm repping my Canadian Sojourn
Yeah.
shirt. I gotta have my Canadian Sojourn
Yeah,
shirt. A little
Canadian
bit of
pride.
Toronto. Yeah, yeah. I gotta have my Canadian pride.
Yeah.
Represent.
So, to start out with this first question, when did you discover the passion of acting? Because I know I've been reading
Good
about you.
question.
You just love acting. I guess since you were like a little kid.
Yes. Yes. Oh, you did good research. So,
Yeah,
are my teeth? Oh, I'd like. Do I have? Okay, I'm just checking because we just turned
you're
on the
fine.
camera and we're going. I'm like, I don't really know what's going on here. Yes. I didn't know it was acting when I
Hmm.
was 3 years old. I didn't know it was acting. So when I was three, every Sunday night, Disney would play a Sunday night movie every Sunday night when I was a kid. There was like
Hmm.
only like 10 channels on the TV, like it was really
Yeah.
limited. I'm an older lady. So I would watch whatever the Disney Sunday movie was, and
Yeah.
then I would go next door to the little old lady who lived in a trailer, actually, in front of her daughter's house. Her
Hmm.
name was Mrs. Proudfoot, and I would act out whatever the Disney Sunday movie was. I would act it out. I would just act out the entire movie for her.
Oh,
I
how
was
nice.
3 years old. I
That's
didn't
awesome.
know that was acting. I just know that she didn't have a TV. So I didn't understand. I'm like, she's missing all of the best things in the universe. Because, of course, at three, I also thought that when I turned the TV off, it just stopped the program. And when I turned it on, it would play again,
Hmm.
um, which is how TV is
Yeah.
now, but it
Well,
wasn't back then. So
yeah.
I was like, but yeah, so I guess I was acting at 3 years old. I was always acting. I was attracted to doing plays. I would do performances in school. I would do,
Yeah.
like nativity plays. I would do like whatever if they were singing.
Oh.
I remember singing Vive le Vent on TV in grade two in Canada, and Vive le Vent is Jingle Bells in French.
Yeah.
And I remember that. I remember like doing. I remember playing a raven. I remember playing a dove. I remember, like little kids school stuff, and I
Right.
lived for those moments. I lived for
Oh.
them. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be the best raven ever.
Oh.
I'm gonna be out like anything that where I could write my own. I would write sketches and I would force all the kids in the neighborhood to be in them. I would choreograph dances and make everybody. I forced my sister to act
Oh.
and dance. We got like one of those camcorders. It's like
Oh yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
camera,
yeah.
and they were really big. And I would videotape stuff. Like I was a performer, no question, since I was born. I came in doing it. I'd never expected to get paid for it.
Yeah.
I had no choice but to do it because it's in my blood. So being characters has always been something that I do. I am characters. Now, it never made sense to me growing up because I didn't know that
Right,
there was
right.
acting behind the microphone.
Right,
So I
right.
was always locked into what my meat suit looked like. I was
Yeah.
always locked into being, well, at the time, a scrawny white teen girl look, and I'm like, but I can play old ladies. This is limiting me, I could be monsters. I could be. Why am I? And then so when my very first job came around, where they needed character actors specifically to
Mm-hmm.
do background voices for television and film shows.
Yeah.
And once it was the first job I got was for a show called Outer Limits in the 90s.
Yeah.
It was
Mm-hmm.
a sci-fi show, and they
Yeah.
needed someone who could do accents, and I can do accents.
Yeah.
So I went to the job, and I was standing next to now famous voice actor Michael Dobson. But at the time,
Yeah.
we were just two people
Right.
standing at a microphone doing background monster voices for a sci-fi series.
Yeah.
And I loved that job. I loved that job. I was like, this is my whole life made sense in that moment. I'm like,
Oh
I
my
can
goodness.
be monsters. I can be monsters. Right? Like nobody understood that. Like when I was auditioning, like the only roles you get were for a female, you were either a hooker, a drug addict, the girl next door,
Right.
or the sexy lead.
Yeah.
I was never the sexy lead. Like that was
Yeah.
not my wheelhouse. There were many other girls who did that better than me. So I
Mm-hmm.
could be the best. Mostly it was drug addicts and hookers. I
Yeah.
played a lot of those. Yeah.
And
Sex workers now, but back in the 90s, they were called hookers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of back,
Sorry.
you're fine. You're fine. Speaking of back in the day in the 90s, you got your BFA in acting, right? You
Look at you.
yeah.
Yes, I did. Acting specialization. Yes, I
Yeah.
did. Yes, I did. And what I liked about the program at that time,
Mm-hmm.
well, liked and hated, when you had to audition to get into the first year university at University of Victoria. There was
Oh
it
wow.
was an amazing years, because all the people who were teaching were like really, they were people who had been out in the world living the career and had come back to teach, so they had a
Wow.
lot of world experience. And so I auditioned to get in, and 70 of us got accepted for the first year acting program, if I remember the numbers correctly. 70 of us
Mm-hmm.
got in, and then you had to audition every year to get accepted to go to the second year of university, which is
Oh
crazy because
wow.
it's university. But we had to, and then after second year, did we have to audition again? Or was it? Yeah, by third and fourth year, you had to be accepted.
Oh.
So based on what you did in second year, so we started with 70 of us in the acting program in fourth year, but I can't believe I made it to the fourth year. There was
Yeah.
only 7 of us.
Oh
Everybody
wow.
else was either left, they moved into a different focus, or
Okay.
they were cut. And I remember the people
Ooh.
being cut in third year, and it was awful because we were so close and everybody was
Oh.
so talented, and it was just I hated that. And you get to the third year
Yeah.
university to get your Bachelor of Fine Arts, and the third year you're cut out of that was
Oh.
hard. And somehow
Understand.
I
Yeah.
skated through. And I wasn't talented, sir.
Yeah.
I was very enthusiastic.
Yeah.
I people liked me because I was so enthusiastic, and I was a living cartoon then, but they didn't
Yeah.
want cartoony performances. They
Yeah.
wanted grounded. And I
Yeah.
preferred cartoony, ridiculous comedy kind of
Right.
characters.
Right.
I was definitely heavily affected by Carol Burnett and Tracy Ullman, and
Mm-hmm.
Madeline Kahn, character actresses. I
Ooh.
really love that stuff. So
Yeah.
when I left university and I moved to the big city, Vancouver,
Oh
um,
yeah.
I didn't know about acting behind a microphone. I really didn't. I didn't know that was a thing, because I
Yeah.
had honestly thought that cartoon characters were real up until that
Right.
point.
And speaking of acting in general, I understand this gets overlooked when it comes to when people say voice actor, they always focus on the voice. But from what I know from the past 20 years, I've been hearing your voice in various medium. You're a full service actress. And the point I was so shocked that I saw you on the episode of X-File playing a waitress, a ginger waitress.
I wasn't a hooker or a drug addict. It was a good job. I wasn't a hooker or a drug addict. I'm like, waitress sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah, you would just look like like a ginger curly hair. You was just like it was just like a one
Yep.
cameo scene, but you made the best of it,
Yep.
and it looked great. It
Yes,
was
I did.
that was
Hot
great.
sauce. cures anything.
Hmm.
You know him or something? Those were my two lines.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember them. Those are it. That's it.
And you look so great in that scene too. I had to,
Oh,
yeah,
thank
you
you.
looked great. I'm like,
I was young. It was easy to look great. I was
yeah.
20, it was cake. I didn't have to do anything. I was
Yeah.
20.
And speaking on your early camera roles,
Well,
you were
you've
on the
done some
show.
research. You are good.
Yeah, because you are one of my favorite actors in the voiceover role, and I've been listening to you ever since Ed, Ed and Eddie. And don't do that,
Sure.
I'm going to cry.
What's with this? What's with the style and clothes, Eddie? It's Customer Appreciation Day at the candy store, and they're giving away jawbreakers for free. I really like you, and I'm going to kiss your face off. Do you ever need ketchup?
I was trying to wait until since we were on the topic. How did you discover auditioning for? First, it was May Kanker, and then it was Nas. So, how was that transitioning for you auditioning for those two characters? Because with May, it was
Mm.
your first role, and then you took over as Nas from Tabitha St. German.
You
And
you are killing the game. You
okay,
are a great interviewer. First of all,
thank
the
you.
information you have is yes, all of that. So it goes back to the story with Michael Dobson.
Yeah.
So
Oh
I
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
standing
yeah, yeah.
next to Michael Dobson on that job for Outer Limits, and he says, "Why aren't you doing cartoon voices?" And I said, "What? What are you talking about? What do you mean cartoon voices?" He's like, cartoon voices. Why aren't you doing cartoons? I'm like Papa Smurf and He-Man. He's like, "Yeah, you know how Gary Chalk plays He-Man." And I'm like, what? Because in my head, He-Man was He-Man. Oh, I lost an earring on that. In my head, He-Man was He-Man. And I knew who Gary Chalk was. Like, I knew Gary Chalk. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that did not equate in my brain. So I was of the generation where nobody knew who the actors for cartoons were.
Right, right,
And
right.
I didn't understand why you would want to. Because he totally gave me a Santa Claus moment there. He
Yep.
gave me a Tooth Fairy moment where I was like, no! And after I got over my shock of like real people play cartoon characters, I was like, oh my God, that actually makes sense. And for Ed, Ed and Eddie, um uh okay, so this is gonna get complicated.
Okay.
So I
Take your
looked
time.
for an agent to represent me for voice. No, did I do that first? No. I made a demo first. I made a demo based on something I got in the dream state. In the dream state, I had been doing characters, torturing my friends with characters
Right. Oh.
for years, like, and my own characters, not impressions of characters. I did like a couple of impressions for singing, like singing
Oh yeah, yeah,
impressions.
yes you did.
Yeah, but I never did, like, I have a lot of characters that were my original characters that I
Ooh.
tortured my friends with. And so in the dream, it gave me the list of what I would say as each character and how I would edit the thing. Now, this is before we all had home computers or laptops, excuse me. We
Ooh.
had computer, but we didn't have sound equipment. We didn't have, there was like, you had to go to a studio
Yeah.
to record.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Michael Dobson's brother, Brian Dobson, also a famous voice actor,
Right, right.
he and I were starting out at the same time. And so I asked Brian to produce my demo, and he directed me and he produced it, even though I
Aw.
had it all laid out, but I
Yeah.
needed someone to direct my performances. And he did that for me. And he was also the person that we auditioned together for Ed, Ed, and Eddie on my apartment floor using a DAT machine that I had rented because
Oh
they're
wow.
way too expensive. You can't
Right.
buy a DAT machine. So I had rented a DAT machine, and then we recorded our auditions, and Brian didn't get the gig. But
Aw.
he went on to be He-Man or Skeletor
Right,
himself.
right,
So I
right.
feel
No,
like
you're fine.
his career worked out. His career worked out. But yeah, so I got hired as May Kanker, but that was a 6-month audition process. So
Ooh.
oh oh
Oh.
I skipped a bit. Sorry.
No, you're
I
fine.
did my demo.
Yeah.
And then I started shopping it to agents to get it. I wanted to get an agent specifically for voiceover. I had an on-camera agent that had some voiceover stuff, but they didn't focus just on voiceover because that wasn't a thing yet. Like, there
Right,
really
right.
weren't voiceover agents really at that time. Maybe commercial voiceover agents, but mostly you would have an agency, and an agency would tell you you're going to go on camera for an audition. This is a theater audition, or this is they called it voiceover so that you would know it was behind a microphone. they didn't call it voice acting. It
Right.
was just acting, voiceover acting,
Acting. Right.
voiceover
Mhm.
acting, because your voice
Right.
is going over the thing. So I actually ended up with an agent that was Michael Dobson's mother-in-law, had decided that these voice actors weren't getting proper representation, and
Yeah.
that she only wanted to focus on the voice acting part, which nobody in Canada really had done. So I signed with Michael Dobson's mother-in-law, Hilda
Yeah.
Peterson, who was amazing. I know she's retired now, but Hilda Peterson, and so she was the one that got me the Ed, Ed and Eddie audition, and
Aw.
she got Brian, because I'm pretty sure she represented Brian too. I feel like that would make sense.
Yeah.
And then and then 6 months for auditioning, and
Yeah.
then I finally get the job. Ding! I'm May Caker. What? This is my first job ever. And then the first year, Naz had almost nothing to say. She
Yeah.
said like maybe 2 lines. And Tabitha St. Germain at that
Jermaine.
time
Mhm.
was well, she still is,
Yeah.
but that was a year her career was popping.
Yeah.
She was
Yeah.
little voice on the McPherson Playhouse main stage. Like, that is the biggest theater in town, and she was the biggest show in town. Plus she was in all these other cartoons, plus
Yeah,
she
she
did on
was. Yeah,
camera.
oh
Her
man.
career was on fire. And so for her to come in for a 4-hour session to record 2 lines was not a good use of her time, because
Right.
all these other productions needed her in costumes and set, that
Right.
sort of thing. So she walked away from the show, because of course in Canada we didn't get the show, so we didn't know it was popular. We just know it was playing on some channel in America. That's all
Right.
we
Yeah.
knew. And then when we got a second season, we were like, okay, America, we hope you like it.
Yeah.
And so
I
and
loved it.
now Kathleen Barr, who played
Marie
Marie
Kanker
Marie
and
Kanker, and
Janice
Kevin.
Lee Kanker.
Yeah, so Janice played Lee,
Mm-hmm.
Kathleen played
Play
Marie
Marie.
and Kevin,
Yeah.
dork,
Great
and
range.
right, and and Janice played Lee and Sarah.
Right.
So they
Right.
already had doubled up. None of the guys had to double up roles, but
Right.
the girls were already doubled up. So it made sense that I only had one character, so that when Tabitha left, he gave me Naz as well. And we took
Aw.
a very long time to dial in Naz.
Yeah.
He took probably 4 hours just to dial in Naz, to get the Naz that he wanted. So yeah, that's
Mhm.
how that happened.
And a couple of years back, I saw this behind the scene video of the Eddie voice cast. Y'all were working on the video game.
For the video game. That's
I
such a
love
cute game. I love that. I love watching that. All the feels I have. I'm like, I was so
I
young.
I
I
love the
was so young. I
I
was
love
cute. I looked like Naz.
I
I had
love
morphed into Naz at that point. I
your
was even
hair,
on
your
that record.
hair.
And you don't see it. You don't see it. I was wearing baggy pants, like
Yeah,
really
yeah.
loose baggy pants. And they were pink cords that day. Pink, big ass wide cords with my Adidas. They were either Adidas
Hmm.
or they were Chucks. It was one of those two on
Yeah,
my feet. So I looked like Naz
yeah,
for
your hair.
sure in
You was
that
like just
video.
like you like twirling your hair when you was recording. Like, dude, what's with that bell?
Yes. It's so true.
Yeah,
It's
I
true.
have to say your chemistry with the cast with Janice,
Oh.
Kathleen
No,
is
we
so
loved each
beautifully done.
other.
Yeah. Oh
We
my
loved each
gosh.
other. There is no joke on that. Like, we loved each other. We loved each other. Well, maybe they hated me. I don't know, but I loved them. I loved them. They were all masters at the craft. And I
Hmm.
was starting out. So to be next to all of these masters,
Yeah.
like, that's where I took all of my characters, and being in rooms with these kind of talent was where I had to pull up my britches. I had to get
Hmm.
better. I had to listen even more. I had to watch what they were doing. I mean, I learned from the best, the freaking best. I mean, that cartoon today, I watch it and I listen to their performances and I'm like, they're still the
Yes,
best.
yes, yes,
They're the
yes.
best in the world. Yeah. Like,
And
Peter Kalamis just had me in tears
oh yeah.
every recording session. His mic was right across from mine.
Yeah.
So Kathleen Barr is standing next to me, cracking me up because she's talking to the side of her mouth and she starts breaking it. She would break into song constantly, and then I would go
Yeah.
with her. And then and Rolf would be across from me, and the Peter could go off, and oh my dude, it was good times. Good times.
Yeah, and Terry did such a fantastic job directing you guys throughout the
Mm.
10-year runs of that show.
He
And
had a difficult time directing because Danny was in the room also directing.
oh yeah.
So Terry would be like, "Here, let me
Oh.
give you the direction," and then Danny would be like, "No, that's not it. No, do it again." And Terry would be like,
Oh
"Well, what
man.
is it?" And he would have the conversation, and Terry would try to get us, and then Danny would be like, "No," and then we'd have to do 1,000 takes of each line until Danny was happy.
I would have been so
But it was worth
nervous.
it.
Yeah, it
It
was
was worth
definitely
it.
worth it for sure.
When you're working with a genius, though, what do you care, right? Like
Right,
you're
right.
getting, first of all, you're getting paid,
Yeah.
and he knows what he wants for his cartoon. He knows
Mm-hmm.
what he wants, and so
Yeah.
I'm not arguing with a genius. And the
Yeah.
product speaks for itself. He knew what he was. He knows what he wants. He knew what he wanted, and that's yeah, yeah. He was amazing. He's just
And
very talented.
and during the like after season two, you moved away to Southern California and you came back. Did they pay you to come back to finish up the remainder?
Okay. Oh, you want the tea?
Yes, yes, please, please.
Oh, I'm gonna give you the. I'll give you the tea. I'll give you the tea. Okay. Okay. So
Okay.
I said I was moving to Los Angeles because I was
Hmm.
in love and
Yeah.
I was following a boy.
Okay.
I don't recommend that. Any of you young women out there, don't do that.
Okay.
Mm-mm. Follow your dreams. Don't do that. Although technically, I guess ultimately, I ended up following my dreams anyway. Um, but I moved down to be with him, and I was trying to negotiate staying. I was like, I don't understand why I can't stay. I don't understand why I can't,
Right.
either fly back. I don't understand why I can't record from America. And because I worked on shows, like I worked on Sabrina the Animated
Yes, you
Series,
did.
and we recorded in Vancouver, but the leads recorded in LA.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand why I couldn't record from LA. And then they kept telling me it was a union issue. They were like, "Oh no, the union
Oh.
won't." And so I checked with SAG AFTRA, and they were like, "Yeah, we don't have a problem with it. You can do whatever you want. It's like as if it's under their union and they're paying you. What does it matter?" So it
Right.
turned out to be a UBCP union issue.
Hmm.
At least that's what I was told. Um, and I still didn't understand it. And I was heartbroken because I didn't want to give up the job. I just
Right,
changed
right.
location. It didn't make sense
Yeah.
to me because I know people fly up all the time to Vancouver to do lead roles in shows and bloopity blah. Um, and so for about 6 months, they had hired Jen Forgy.
Right,
Apologies to
right.
Jen Forgy for this whole situation.
Hmm.
And and then Danny, like, remember, Danny took 6 months to cast the show. He was not just picking people lightly. So he has
Yes,
a
he did.
sound, and he would tell me, "No, it doesn't sound like Naz. Sound more like Naz." You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Hmm.
I'm playing Naz.
Right.
So I can't even imagine what Jen had to go through for those
Oh
six
yeah,
months.
especially throughout
Yeah, that
season
it
three.
had to be it had to be brutal. So from my understanding, what's released, she's not in all of season 3 because halfway through season 3, I got approached being told that Danny has to have you back. He
Oh.
can't do this. Danny has to have you back. And I said, and then I was told by somebody, I can't remember who, that
Hmm.
the only it was my agent was relaying this information that I would have to pay my own flight back to Canada to record the show, which what I was getting paid in Canada, like we didn't get residuals for the show.
Right.
That's probably, like there was no residuals. So if I paid for my flight, that would be all the money I would make. The
Oh.
money I would make would just pay for my flight and back. I'm like, I was just trying to get, I didn't have, I was getting my work visa here. I didn't have job. I was working as a
Ooh.
waitress here. I was in America. I was doing a grind. I worked in elder care and I was in catering at the time. I was doing those jobs you do when you're grinding, trying to
Well,
build your
yeah.
life again. Because I had a huge 6-figure career in Vancouver, and then when I moved to LA, I was just another unknown nobody, and I was starting from scratch. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
I worked at ESL schools. I did a lot of jobs just trying to pay the rent. So there was no way I could afford to fly back to Vancouver. There was no way. So I called the union in Canada and I'm like, "Look, I'm being told that they want me back, which is wonderful. But isn't it your job to make sure that they pay for my flight and a place for me to stay? Like, isn't that in the union?"
Part of the
And
deal, the
someone,
contract.
right, we're just like, the union. That's what the union does. That's the union's job. The union
Yeah.
protects the actor. and to make sure that the actor is like, okay, if you do. So anyway, so I said that to the union, and the person at the union said, "Do you really want to rock the boat?" That's such a Canadian consciousness of like, you're my union. I need you to fight for me so that I can keep my job.
Security, job security.
Please. And the union did not have my back, but my agent did.
Oh.
So my agent in Canada worked it out, and they agreed to fly me back. And some occasions I stayed with friends, so they didn't have to pay. Actually, on a lot of occasions, I would fly up at 6 o'clock in the morning, record, and then fly back the same day, so they didn't even have
Ooh.
to pay for a hotel. Like I made it all in one day because I was like,
Hmm.
look, however I can save you money, I will, just to keep this job. And I remember re-recording episodes in season 3 that
Oh
Jen had
man.
already recorded.
Yeah.
I remember re-recording them. Like Danny
Okay.
wanted me to go back in and just. So I don't know which episodes are mine and which episodes. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously the beginning episodes are hers, but I don't know
Right.
where I took over. I don't know.
Like we dubbed them. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm sure somebody
Ooh.
who's listened to the
Oh,
season 3 would know when
yeah.
all
And
of a
then
sudden I showed up again.
yeah, I'll do my homework later on to see because I know there's a
Oh, I would
page.
love to know.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
love to know because
I'll
people
let you
ask
know.
me and I'm like, I don't know. And I'm guessing May Kanker didn't show up at the beginning of season 3 because I
Yeah.
don't know if she played May Kanker. Like I think they just kept May Kanker quiet.
Yeah.
Um,
She played May Kanger for a little bit too. She took both of your roles
oh,
over. Yeah.
okay, okay, okay.
Oh,
So
sorry.
I no, no, that's okay. It's not your fault and it's not her fault.
Hmm.
Um, it's just one of those things where people
Right.
just, again, when they treat you like cheap talent instead
Mm,
of real
yeah.
talent. So the treatment was, you're cheap talent. No, we're not going to pay for you. We're just going to hire someone else. You're
Hmm.
replaceable. And it was one of those beautiful moments in life where Danny basically had my back and was
Thank
like,
God.
no, she's not replaceable. You need to bring her back. And so Danny, being the artist that he is, requiring what he required, I don't know if it was personal in the sense, like, I have no idea if he was personally supporting me and thinking the whole situation was trash, or if he was just being like, I need this for my art. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't care.
Hmm.
Either way, all I know is that I am loyal to Danny until the day I die because he stayed true to that.
Yeah.
And he's artist's artist, even an actor's artist, because he had my back and made sure that I got to come back and finish out the rest of the show. And so my loyalty to him was like, whatever I could do for him to the day I die, I will do for him because he didn't have to do that. He
Yeah.
didn't
You
have
didn't
to
have
do
to
that.
do that.
And I know the nightmare that Jen Forgey had to have been living
Yeah.
with Danny trying to make her sound like me when she's not me. Like that, I know
Ooh.
because I had to sound like
Yeah.
Tabitha, and I went through a whole thing trying to sound like Tabitha, and she had 2 characters to have to do that with. So
Yeah.
I know how difficult that would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, so luckily I got to come back, and then from then on, they flew me up. Only on a couple occasions did I have to stay overnight because the session went too late and I couldn't catch a flight back in the evening.
Yeah.
But um, overall, it worked out really well. So like when that video game and all of that footage was recorded, that was one of those times they had flown me back to
Oh.
record.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because I
and I
remember.
got to go back and tell everybody how popular the show was because
Oh
they
yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
know. They
Yeah.
didn't know, but living in America, I knew. I knew
Yeah.
how popular it was.
Yeah, because I remember catching it on Cartoon Network back in the late 90s. I was like, what, six,
Mm.
7 years old, and I seen this show. I'm like, I love this show, and I like to see more of this show. And then as the years gone by, and then finally when the final movie came out, I did cry at the end.
It was
Because,
so
it was like
good.
because the series finale, at that
Chef's
point,
kiss.
I was 17 when the series finale came out, and
Yeah.
I've been with this show for the past 10 years of my life. It's
Mm.
finally coming to an end, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't thank Danny, Terry, a lot of you guys, Matt, Sam, Tony,
Mm.
a lot of you talented actors did a great job with these characters, and
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
can't thank you enough. I can't thank you enough for the sacrifice you went through just to come back to doing Naz and May, because it
That
had to be
wasn't a sacrifice. That wasn't a sacrifice. That was a labor of love.
Labor of
Different.
love. Yeah,
It's
I should say
different.
that because
Labor of
and
love is
Danny,
different than a sacrifice. I didn't give anything up. I
yeah,
got
Danny,
everything.
Danny did a great job. I'm sure that in his head you were the best actress for those both roles for May and
Oh,
Naz.
that's
I
kind. That's kind.
thank you, Erin. I thank you,
That's
Danny. If
so
you
kind. That's so sweet. That's so sweet. Thank you so much. That's
it,
very kind of you.
it's like those roles are my favorite roles that you've done in your career because how
Thank
much
you.
the character range between May and
Mm,
Naz is incredible.
yeah.
And
They're
and
very
when
different. They're different.
you get into
Yeah.
character for sure.
Yes.
It's amazing.
There's no question. There's no question. Yes, I'm a
And
character actor. My whole body becomes the character. I put on the character's meat suit. Yeah. Yeah.
and and speaking of, and I want to backtrack a little bit. So going back before you made the big move to LA, I know
Hmm.
you've been working on like anime ADR dubbing roles to like as back in the day they call it Lupin. So was that difficult for
You do
you
know.
to do as dubbing ADR Lupin?
Well, remember, my first job was background voices
Oh
for Outer Limits.
yeah. I'm so sorry.
That was looping. That was
Yeah.
looping.
Yes, that's
So
what. Yeah,
because
yes, it
that
was.
was my first, so like my first jobs behind a microphone were me doing all of the fighting efforts for female leads. So
Yeah.
it was like dubbing a kung fu movie,
You're
right?
like,
So
huh,
I was
yeah.
like, exactly. And I was really good at doing it without having seen the action. So what one of my favoriteest things when I would do looping is like roll the scene and I'm going to chase it. And so I would just I would do the sound as I'm seeing it for the very first time. And
Hmm.
there was something like it would be, it's like hitting a hole in one, right? When I
Hmm.
match it perfectly, having never seen the scene.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be my pocket.
Yep.
I love doing that. So
Yeah.
doing anime, it was similar. My difficulty with anime, because my very first job, I believe, was Saber Marionette J.
Yeah. Hmm.
It
Yes. Yes.
wasn't the dubbing, it was the
Yeah.
content.
Yeah. You
I had a
played
very difficult, yeah.
Cherry. Yeah.
I had a hard time when I walked in and I'm like, you want me to, because I saw her calling him master and I'm like, you want, and it was a guy directing and I'm like, you want me to say what? And I believe the line that I had a whole meltdown over was like, would you like me to draw you a bath, master? And I was like, oh, hell no. No, nope, nope, nope. I'm not saying that. No, it was the 90s. I was in my girl period. You know,
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was over with the misogyny and all the
Yeah.
crap I had to deal with as a female actor already, which was really garbage in the 90s.
Yeah.
There's a reason we were riot girls. You know what I mean? There was a
Hmm.
reason we were all wearing Doc Martens and stomping everywhere. We were over it. We
Yeah.
were just over it. So to go in and have this character be like
Yeah.
that, I was like, dude, I don't think I can do this. Like, what kind of a show is this? Because I didn't know what fan service was. I didn't
Right.
know.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't watch anime, so I had no idea. So he had to go through an entire. Now, credit to my white male director for knowing all the cultural meaning behind all of the Japanese anime content.
Oh
So
yeah.
he could break everything down to me in a way and was like, I need you to approach this like a comedy.
Hmm.
I need you to approach this like a comedy. This is a
Yeah.
comedy. Don't like, I like playing Luke's. I like
Yeah.
playing her. She was a badass.
Yeah. Oh
she
yeah. She
fit with
was.
my the way I felt on the inside. But Cherry, can I just say that has got to be some of my best acting in my life because I
Yeah.
did not. Erin Fitzgerald did not feel those Cherry lines, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna be Cherry. Oh, please, can I try to do a bath?
Right.
But I thought I was going to quit that day. I really did. I thought I can't do anime. That's in my head. I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't do. If this is what anime is, I can't do anime. I can't do
Yeah.
it. No. But he helped me. He helped me, and then I got to be in Roundma one half afterwards because he helped me get through my very first anime job because I'm
Right.
like sexism. I couldn't get over it.
And it's an amazing job because in Ocean Studios, like even people like Kathleen, Janice, all them
Mm-hmm.
guys like Matt Hill, they were also working on that studio too. Peter Kalamis.
Mm-hmm. It
It's
was right next door to
oh
the
my
other studio. Like it
wow.
was like literally down the street from the other. All the
Wow.
studios were pretty much in walking distance from each other in
Vancouver.
Vancouver. And at the time in the 90s, there was a very small circle of us that were
Yeah.
character
Yeah, you're
actors
right.
doing behind the mic
You're
acting.
right.
Because again, we didn't have internet. People didn't know this was a job. Actors
Hmm.
didn't know it was a job. We were it was and then to be like to be if you were going to work in Vancouver, you had to be a character actor that you could play 1,000 different characters. You had to. They needed actors who could do that.
It's
So
essential.
that's yeah, it was essential. It was essential. Like Ian James Corlett,
Yes.
like
In the U side,
Phil
yeah.
Hayes, all
Hmm.
of them. Yeah, yeah. Like all of the big stars from Vancouver. Yeah, we all
Kirby
came out in the
Monroe.
90s.
Phew.
Yeah, Kirby. Oh,
Oh yeah.
Kirby.
Rest in
Yeah,
peace, Kirby. He
yeah.
I can't I can't thank you the Canadian talent for all that the voiceover performance you gave to these cartoons, like from X-Men Evolution with Kirby as Cyclops.
Mm.
I'm like I can
Beast
think of
Wars.
yeah. It's just
David Sobolov.
it's so amazing.
Badass.
And speaking on that's still in Canada, Vancouver, you worked on this kiddie show called Dragon Tales. You played three distinct characters, Priscilla,
Yeah.
Wendy,
Mm-hmm.
and I forgot the other one.
Hoppy? Is it Hoppy?
Goppy, yeah, Goppy. Three distinct characters. Wendy is my favorite character because she's sweet, and I know
She
the
is
direct
sweet.
and the director. Don't quote me on this. I'm cheating a little bit. Michael Hack was
Yeah,
directing you guys.
he was. That was him.
So working on Dragon Tales, how was the atmosphere performing those three distinct characters? Because I know you have more time with Wendy than the other two roles that you did on the show.
Look, I was a young actor just starting to book
Okay.
work in cartoons. Are you kidding me? It was
Mhm.
joy, a bliss. I can't believe they paid me. Michael Hack was great to work with. I really enjoyed the process, and the two leads were kids. They were real, like Andrea
Yeah.
and Max were. Was it the actor's name wasn't Max? Was it? Wasn't his? I can't remember if Max was his character's name or his name,
Yeah,
but he
Max is
was
the
a little
character
kid
name. Yeah,
because
Max and
it was a
Emily.
little kid. It was this tiny little kid playing him. He was
Oh.
adorable. He was
Oh.
so freaking cute. Him and Andrea was just like a third 12, 10, 11. She was just a kid. She was just a kid. And
Hmm.
Chantel Strand, I feel, was she in there? Yeah, Chantel
Yeah.
Strand must have been in there.
Hmm.
She was just a little kid.
Yeah.
They were little kids, and I was a kid, but I was
Yeah.
in my 20s.
Yeah.
But they were just it was wholesome. Like
Yeah.
it was the definition of
Yeah.
wholesome. It was so wholesome. That show was so wholesome, and it was so sweet. And I did play. I think I got used a lot as a utility actor. So
Hmm.
those are the three characters that had character names. But
Yeah.
Michael was great at bringing me back just for
Oh,
incidental
thank God.
characters. So I know I did more than those three
Additional
episodes,
voices.
but
Okay.
yeah, because I remember being there a lot.
Oh,
But it was really great.
did you saw Kathleen there?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course. Yeah.
Wheezy.
Yes. I remember seeing Michael in LA and him being really mad at me. He's like, because I had moved and he
Right,
didn't know
right.
I had moved.
Hmm.
And he was like, when I saw him at Salami Studios in LA, he's like, "Where the hell were you? We were looking for you. We needed you for something." I'm like, "I was here. Didn't you have my agent's contact info? Because my agent knew I was here. I could have worked. I flew up to Vancouver every once in a while. You could have hired me." So I felt a little salty back at him where I'm like, "You did not try hard enough, sir. I called
Yeah.
baloney. I called baloney because I did try to reach. I tried to reach
Yeah.
out to all the American directors I worked with in Vancouver. I tried to contact when I got to LA, and crickets.
Yeah.
Nobody responded to me. So I call a little bit of, "Sure, you looked for me. Sure, you did. Okay, honey. I don't buy it though. All right." But yeah.
And speaking of, since moving to LA, you met a certain character actor who's also a joy to work with, Michael Surridge. You worked on this.
Yes.
You worked on this small anime. It lasted for one season. It's called Flint the Time Detective
Oh,
in Saban Entertainment.
I recorded that in Vancouver.
Did you?
Didn't
No, because Flint the Time Detective. Michael Surridge was directing. it had to be
Okay,
somewhere in.
maybe it had. I don't remember. You're
Okay.
probably right because Michael Surge is definitely. I only know him from LA.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Do
I
you?
adore him. He
Yeah.
is a dolly. He is a dolly. I adore him.
Yeah. Was he one of the first actors you met when you first moved out to LA, or you were
No.
just like a stranger in a
Mm-mm.
new world and you know?
I don't remember when I met him, but no, he was further down the process. I was
Okay.
working on the first jobs I got in LA were video games. I worked
Yeah.
on Spawn and Shark Tale 2
Yeah. I
and
remember Shark Tale.
Spider-Man
Yeah.
3 and
You did
some
Hack.
other
You did
but
Hack.
even before Dot Hack, yeah, like
Okay.
before I got into those studios, like I was working for Margaret Tang the most. She was
Okay.
the reason I got my work visa. So I worked
Oh,
with
thank
Margaret
God.
Tang and I was working on a number of games. And then I was working with another game company doing Saints Row 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was doing a lot of game stuff. And
Yeah.
then it was, I think it was, and then I booked some cartoon incidental work with Sue Blue, and it
Yeah.
was working on the Sue Blue cartoons that I met Yuri Lowenthal.
Aw.
So sitting next to Yuri Lowenthal, we were in a session together, and I didn't know him. I didn't know anybody in the room. I was just
Right.
some new kid from Canada,
Canada.
and we had a whole conversation using a paperclip. And I remember at the end of the session, we hadn't said a word to each other because, you know, Sue Blue's directing. You don't say anything. You just shut up and do your job.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, Yuri felt like my brother. Like I felt like I was related to him. I'm like, this guy, I am closer to this guy. And then so I asked Yuri if we could meet for coffee. And we did. And because I don't know anybody. I didn't have any industry friends. I didn't
It's your
know anybody.
networking.
Yeah. So I asked him if he would go for coffee with me just so I could get some insight.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did he give me the best career advice possible, but he is the one who referred me to all the other studios where the Japanese content was being made. The only reason I got into any of those Japanese content was because of Yuri Lowenthal. He referred me because he had worked with me. He saw
Mm-hmm.
what I could do. So
Thank you.
he wasn't talking out of, you know, his butt. He did
Yeah.
go based on what, and then, and this is how the universe works.
Mm-hmm.
And then for about 10 years, he and I were always cast opposite each other.
Yeah.
So if you look like between 2005 to 2017,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
all of our credits line up, and he and I are opposite each other in a
Mm-hmm.
lot of content.
It's amazing, and thank you for telling me that because that's the one piece of info I did not know. One piece of trivia I needed. Yuri helping
No,
you out. That's
nobody
that's
knows
awful.
that.
That's awfully kind of him, you know. And I know
Yeah, and
Yuri's
he's
a
still my
very decent
brother.
guy.
And he's still
Very
my
decent guy.
brother. Yeah.
And
He's
and
my
speak
brother from another mother. Mm-hmm.
and speaking on original animation in America, you and Yuri worked on this one show called Rob Dyrdek's Wild Grinders.
We had so much fun. Nobody watched that show, but my God, we had so much fun. That show was stupid. We were recording that with Cam freaking Clark.
Yeah,
Cam
he was
Clark,
amazing in that show
He-Man.
too.
He-Man was recording with me. And look, think about that. Original He-Man, and then Yuri ends up years later. Like, I feel like there's a full circle there. And then
Full
I'm
circle
next.
moment right there, man.
Kel Mitchell.
Yeah.
Kel Mitchell stood
Mm-hmm.
next to me, and I got to watch Kel Mitchell's genius every weekend. They let him do whatever he wanted to do. Kel
Yeah.
Mitchell is an improv genius. It was that show, it was so funny. Those scripts were hilarious. We thought it was hilarious. The World of Warcraft episode is my favorite because it was
Yeah.
insanely funny. And there were characters that they would just like, because we did all the incidental
Yeah.
characters too.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember them giving me and Yuri the Pizza Brothers.
Yeah.
And so we were
Yeah.
playing these two Pizza Brothers, and it was just supposed to be like a couple of lines in one episode. But
Yeah.
Yuri and I had, because we're like brothers anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know I'm in a female body, but with Yuri, I'm his brother. I feel like I'm his
Yeah.
brother. That's really that Yosuke Chie relationship
Yeah.
is two brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right. And,
So we so they took those characters and then they wrote them into future episodes
oh,
because we had had so much fun with the characters. They were like, okay, we got to use these again. This is really fun. It was just
you,
such a good team. The
yep,
creative team, the writing team, the production team. That was just a home plate entertainment, chef's kiss. They just were such a great group of people to work with. Like it was a joy. That was a joy of a job. I really wish people watched it so we could have kept it
yeah.
going.
And another thing, and one thing I praise a lot of professional actors is your imagination. It's truly
Mm.
inspiring for sure.
That's our
Like, I
job.
mean,
We get paid to really imagine. Like, if you don't have a good imagination, you should not be acting behind a mic. We don't have
exactly,
sets. We don't
exactly.
have props. We don't have costumes. We don't have lighting.
Hmm.
We don't even know what the scene looks like unless they provide that information, like Danny would. But a lot of jobs, they don't have that information yet. So you have to make it up. If you're an actor and you're not making up where you are, who you're talking to, and know who you are not
Exactly.
doing your job. And on set, you get a full set. You get costumes. You get a whole other actor standing in front of you. You don't
Right.
get that on video games. You don't
Nope.
get that on cartoons for the most part. Not
Anime,
anymore.
especially
You
in
definitely
anime.
don't get that on. Well, in anime, you can see where they are,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like, so you
yeah,
at
yeah,
least you
yeah.
can see where the character
Yeah.
is, and you can see who your character is talking to. So you're
Hmm.
already a leg up in anime because
Yeah,
you
that's
get to see
right.
the final
You're right.
product. You don't get that for cartoons and video games. You don't
Yeah.
get that.
Because I think like when I think about anime, I think about you guys doing an insane amount of co-reading too. Like you gotta act what you're reading. It's so
Yes, it's
hard.
improv, baby.
Yeah, it's improv,
No,
for
no, no,
sure.
no, no, no. The
Mhm.
secret to cold reading is being your character. If you are your character
Mhm.
100%. So if I come on, where's my Trial of the Dragon DVD? Yosuke. Okay, so if I'm gonna be Chie, and no matter like, okay, what do I have here? I don't know. Let me read. Okay, hang on. Let me find something. Okay. Moment to moment, we're always working with conditions. We call them problems, but they're a natural part of unfoldment. So it doesn't matter what is on the. Let me take it further. Let me.
Okay.
Your fund continues to follow the investing guidelines that were established at its inception in March 2019. It
That's
doesn't matter
amazing.
what you say. It doesn't matter what you say. It's not about what you say. It's about who you are, who you're talking to, and where you are when you say it. Because it's
Exactly.
about what you're feeling. Actors,
Hmm.
our job is emotions. That's it. It's not funny voices. It's
Hmm.
being a character and
Exactly.
being true to the character. The character will sound however the character wants to
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah.
But then whatever the character is feeling drives how they say what they say.
Right.
So on the jobs that I've been hired where only got one take, they didn't give me the
Ooh.
script beforehand, and I had a good 1,000 lines to record, one take for each line. The
Hmm.
only way I can get through sessions like that is by committing to the character so much that it doesn't matter what the line says. My character is
Yeah.
going to make it interesting because my character is
Yeah.
interesting.
That's amazing. And speaking of character actors, back to Wild Grinders, going backtrack a little bit back to Wild Grinders. You played Rob Dyrdek's mom and sister, Denise and Pat. Did you get any compliments from Rob playing his mom and sister?
oh, um, oh my god, it was so that was hard because they were real people, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, you're based on real people.
I wasn't doing impressions of them.
Right.
But no, he didn't really. The only compliment I really got from Rob, and now Rob was very sweet. Like, don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, he would compliment all of us at the same time, all together, which was, he was very unanimous. Which was
Yeah.
very. He's a heart person with a genius brain. Really sweet guy. But I remember the first day on the job when I met him, he said he said that he listened. I can't remember. He said something like, "I listened to hundreds of auditions for Stubford, but when I heard yours, that was the one.
Oh,
You stood out. There was no question
yeah.
that you were Stubford." And that, like, you never hear that as an actor, right? Like,
Right.
people don't tell you that
Right.
process and how they landed on you. So for him to say that to me, I
Yeah.
was like, oh, dude, that was the kindest thing anyone could ever do for you,
Yeah.
and I was, It was very sweet of him, and it made me feel really confident going in.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember if he said. I think I was so embarrassed about playing his mom and his sister that even if he said nice things, I would have my Canadian side would have
Yeah.
deflected them and been like, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry." Like I don't know. I feel like he probably said nice things about it,
Yeah.
and I hoped he liked it. But he didn't record with us. He always
Yeah.
recorded separately. He felt
Hmm.
very insecure
Okay, yeah,
because
I understand.
he's like, I mean, Cam Clark and Yuri Lowenthal and Kel Mitchell. Like
Right.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, Rob. Like I get it.
Seasoned
I was
actors.
in the room with them. I was in the room with them, and I was like, this is amazing. Amazing. I've
Yeah.
had a good career. I've been able to be in rooms with amazing people. I'm very
Yeah.
blessed.
And
Yeah.
and the and the thing is, I'm finna head right into that direction. I'm about to hit you with various names. Thanks to Erin Lowenthal, you got the hookup with Jamie Simone at Studiopolis. Worked
Yes.
on various shows like Bleach, even on
Yep.
Digimon, and that's how you got in cahoots with Kirk Thornton, Mary Elizabeth McGlynn.
Yep.
What was like being directed under those talented group of folks? Because I know Mary, Michael, Kirk Thornton, those are talented.
Yeah. Yeah. So talented. Well, okay. First of all, I want to separate Mary from the pack because
Yeah, oh sure.
her theater chops are stellar, just stellar. And she always directed like a theater director. Like I
Mm-hmm.
always felt
Yes, you do. Yeah.
it was so beautiful being directed by her. I know she's such a dramatic director and she's very good with drama.
Yeah.
At least because that's what I worked with her on was a very dramatic storyline in Naruto Shippuden as Gurren
Oh,
and some other
uh,
characters.
can we
Go ahead.
can we talk about
Yep,
that?
yep. Okay, go, go,
I
go.
should start with Naruto first when I
Bring
say
it, bring it,
Studiopolis.
bring it,
on
bring it.
Naruto Shippuden, you play a couple of roles, like a couple of, but Gurren is one of my favorite roles you've
Oh,
done because
credit to
I,
Mary Elizabeth on that. She
yes, she
directed me
did
for that.
an
She
excellent job
absolutely
directing you as that
so
character.
good. And she takes her time. Like
Hmm.
what I loved about her is that she took her time to emotionally because of course
Yeah,
I haven't seen the episode. I
right,
don't
right.
know the whole script. I am missing giant chunks of everything.
Yeah,
And she has to fill me in. Like the direct voice director's job is the most important job.
exactly.
The voice director is the lifeline for an actor who doesn't get set, props,
Yeah.
costumes, the location, and who I am talking to. I
Hmm.
don't know who I'm talking to if the director doesn't tell me.
Right.
And Mary is stellar at giving you all the information you need as an actor, so you have all of the best tools to. And she's really great at giving you directions, different avenues into the emotion because she likes complex emotions, which I also like complex
Hmm.
emotions, meaning I don't like being angry on the nose. And I find like
Yeah.
a lot of anime directors just direct you angry on the nose or
Right. Right.
emotions on the nose. And I
Hmm.
don't like on the nose emotions.
Hmm.
I like complex emotions that are layered and have a lot more going on than what is obvious. And Mary is one of those stellar actors that can get you there.
And that is why you was probably cast as Gurren because that's a complex character right there.
Oh, that's
There are
kind.
moments where you did make me cry. That scene where she felt so bad because she
Oh,
killed Yukimaru's mom, and it,
yeah,
it
yeah, yeah. It was a great storyline.
yeah.
Like that storyline was amazing to get to be in anyway. Like
Hmm.
it was such a great, she had such a great story arc
Yes.
as a character. So that
Yes.
was that was just joyous already. But yeah, it was great. And Kirk Thornton, I mean, he is such a love ball.
Hmm.
He's so creative and he's
Yeah.
so imaginative. Yeah, he's a joy to work with as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
It's just like when you work with guys like Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, Kirk Thornton, Jamie Simone, it's amazing what you can bring on the table on the dinner room table when you make
Yeah,
art as an
yeah.
acting because with like going back to Gurren from start to finish, you gave a very humane performance.
Thank
I know you're a
you.
character actor, but
Thank you. No,
that's
that
one of
means
my
a lot
favorite.
to me. No, that means a lot. Like hearing feedback,
Yeah,
because I know what it felt like when I did it. I'm very proud of what it felt like. I'm proud of my performance, but I have no idea how other people receive it until they
yeah,
tell me. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And I'm really grateful for that. Thank you.
yeah. You're
That means a
welcome.
lot.
And I know like many years later, Mary had to step down being director. She moved on to like other gigs and whatnot. Then you came back to a guest role on Boruto. I think Suzanne Goldish or Ryan Johnston directed you in one of those sessions. I can't know because when I see the credits,
Both
okay,
of them
both,
did.
okay,
Both of them did.
okay.
Yep.
Because when I see the
Which
credit,
roles in Boruto are you thinking of?
I think it was early on. I think you did like one ounce character additional voices. I remember seeing your names in the credits, and then Ryan Johnston and
Hmm.
Suzanne Goldish being the voice directors credited.
Hmm.
I forgot the name of
Well,
the role.
there's one character that I played that I
Mhm.
loved in Boruto, and that's Hebi Ichigo.
That's the name.
She
Yeah, that's the name.
with
I
the
couldn't pronounce it.
triangle hair.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, that's what you would
I'm going to kill you.
yes.
I think it's going to be just fine.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for
that's it.
talking to me. I'm going to kill you.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Erin. And then again,
I loved her. She's psychotic.
yeah, yeah, man, it's so amazing because along with like you and many other female actresses like Tara Sands, Cassandra Lee Morris, Erica Lindbeck, it's it's so amazing as the years gone by, more talented people are taking more pride of being character actors because it's always nice to be play the more humane kind of characters, but it's also another side of the spectrum of being fun of playing a character actors where you can just throw your voice on and pretend like you really are that character.
Well, again, it's not a voice to me.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah,
have her whole body, her
yeah.
sleeves,
You
her tiny
buddy.
little person, and when I see her hair, and then she has her instrument. So when I'm talking just like her, I am being her. It's just being her from head to foot. And then the sound of her comes out because it's just who she is.
Yeah. You're such a joy, Erin. This is such a privilege talking to you. It's been I can't even thank you enough for this, but it's been such a pleasure talking to you. But I'm trying to move on for a while. I can't
Okay,
bring up
okay.
another name, but you're fine. But thank you so
Okay,
much.
good. You're welcome.
So several years back, about I could say like a decade ago, you met another actor and director named Bob Buckles.
Yes, I love him. He might be the best ADR director that ever lived because
Mm-hmm.
he can take terribly written scripts and rewrite them on the spot and make them sound conversational. He just is a master at the craft. And I
Yes.
honestly, my personal opinion, no one is better than he is. He can do it
Mm-hmm.
really, really quickly, efficiently, with a great sense of humor and
Yeah.
really and masterfully. Like it's just he's just a master at the craft, and I learned so much working with him, and I feel like I might the he makes the actor shine. He
Yeah.
makes his job, he just makes it easier for the actors, and the actors just they shine when they're directed by him.
Exactly.
There is no other director like him. He is unique for that field in
Mm-hmm.
that area. He's just such a he's a work of art. He's a work of art.
He did a good job directing you on this anime movie called Pokemon Origins. That's when he directed you. Yeah.
Yeah. That is not what I think of when I think of Bob's direction, but yes, he did direct me on that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would jump ahead because he did direct you in Battle Beat-em-on and Beastars too with his daughter. Forgot his
Yeah.
daughter's name. So how was working on Beastars? Because I know many actors love working on that series because even
I
though
don't remember it. It was very quick. It was like one session.
oh
So
yeah,
I
yeah, oh
don't
yeah, yeah,
really
yeah.
remember.
I played. Hold on, let
I
me
don't
find the name.
remember.
You played the role called the house mother. It's called that. Yeah,
No,
sorry, you're fine.
I don't remember. I
But yeah,
know I'm in it. I remember
yeah,
I had a session for it.
yeah,
But like when you go in for one session, it's not the
yeah.
same as going in for 20.
Yeah, because if you have like that one cameo as this one minor character, it can be easily
Yeah,
forgettable.
exactly.
I totally get that. And speaking of working with other people, there's another. I can't praise this recording studio enough, Erin.
Hmm.
NYAV Post.
They are the best ones. They're the best ones. Have you?
Mike,
They're the ones that get nominated for Oscars and
yes,
awards. They're the
Michael,
ones that get the awards. But
Mike,
Stephanie Shea and
Michael
Michael
Center
Center
Nicholas.
Nicholas, But Stephanie, don't you dare separate Stephanie from
No,
Michael,
no,
because
no.
Stephanie,
She
most of
do
the time, Stephanie's the one directing me, and Michael
yeah,
has directed me too. But both of those two together, they are the powerhouse that is
exactly.
NYAV Post, because that is my favorite ADR studio to
Me
work with,
too. Me too.
because
Well,
they are quality directors and they don't
always
want it to
quality.
sound anime. They make it sound localized. I want to do localization that sounds like where I'm from. I'm not trying to sound like the original. I want to sound like where we're from. That's what localization means to me. So I like studios that don't try to imitate the original sound or pattern or any of that. I want nothing but originality. And their dubbing is like, I got to be in, I don't know how to say the word, mother
Yeah.
FKV, or
Yeah,
there's this
you're fine. You're
movie.
fine.
But
I'm
if I say
30.
it,
Yeah.
if I say it, that's the name of the. And I got to be in that, and it
Yeah.
was like it was such a work of art, and the direction
Yeah.
was so like they're just so, they're so good, they're
Yes, they
so
are.
good.
Stephanie,
Yeah, I love
Michael,
them,
man,
love them.
they're amazing group of people and they care
Yep.
about the actors, the directors, the
Yes.
writers.
Yes.
So many people.
Everybody.
Yeah,
Teamwork makes the dream work attitude. Love that
yeah.
attitude.
And they even work together
They're the
even to get
best studio in town. Sorry, for dubbing, for
yeah.
ADR dubbing, they're the best studio in town for ADR dubbing. No question.
Yeah,
No question.
and they even involve celebrity talent on there too.
Yeah.
Like Lee Pace, he was
They've
in
worked
Weather
with everyone.
yeah, Weathering
They've
with
worked
You.
with everyone. Yep. Yep.
I
Yep.
heard your voices in Weathering with You. You did a good job with providing the voices
Thank you. They use
like
me
you
for utility a lot. They use me
yeah.
for utility. I like to be utility. That's a fun gig for me. That for a person like me, oh,
Yeah.
I get to go in and do like 20 different characters, all one line.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's what I like. That's where I shine.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And I want to diverge a little bit. Another person who interviewed you about 2 years ago, Chris Mayak. I know you know him. Decent guy. One of the greatest online friends I made in my lifetime.
Oh,
He
that is
does
so sweet.
he did a great job interviewing you. When I first saw it, I'm like, wow, he even got to interview you. I mean,
Yay.
he interviewed so many actors. He really truly cares about what you guys have done, especially early on in your career, how you guys got into
Mm-hmm.
SAG ACTRA, because he
Mm-hmm.
is very, very well resourceful, well educated when it comes to SAG ACTRA, the union.
Yeah, you
He's
have to be. Yeah, yeah, it's good stuff. It's important. It's important to know. Yep.
he and Chris, I know you're watching this later on. Thank you.
Hi, Chris. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, he's gonna be watching this later on. But thank you, Chris, for being a good friend and a decent person overall too.
Oh, what a nice shout out. That's a
Yeah.
good friend.
And I'm jumping to another dubbing studio, Bang Zoom Entertainment. That's where you worked on the Danganronpa series. And
Yes. Danganronpa
yeah.
hack I worked on there.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Persona.
uh, uh, no,
Oh,
I
okay.
worked. Persona was PCB Studios.
Yeah. You're
Although
right.
the Persona the animation was recorded there, but that there's a lot of heat and drama about how
Okay.
that
Oh yeah.
happened.
Yeah, I
But
understand.
Hyperdimension Neptunia, I worked at Bang Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bang
Yeah.
Zoom is another studio. I like the many people you work with, like Tony Oliver. He's been in the ADR game
Oh,
for a long, long
but
time.
Tony Oliver is theater, honey. He came
Yeah.
from theater. He is Shakespeare. And I want you to know the most famous characters I have that I recorded at Bang Zoom that blew up, the characters that really got really famous,
Yeah.
were all directed by Tony Oliver.
Yes.
Just saying.
Amazing
Just
director.
saying. Maybe not for the whole, all the games that came after, but the initial, whoever cast, the person who cast me, the person who put, it was Tony Oliver. So he knows casting. He's
Exactly.
amazing ear.
And a great
And
teacher too.
because the games aren't ADR, the
Right.
games are free record. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Free room to play.
Yeah, I haven't done a lot of anime at Bang Zoom. I
No,
think the
no.
only anime was Persona 4, and that had a huge heated, it was not a good
I don't want to
situation. We
dive
lost
into it.
actors during that
Yeah.
experience.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump back to Studiopolis again. In recent
Okay.
years, you met another actor and director who's also hilarious, like Bob Buckles, Jeff Nimoy. He
Oh yeah,
directed
he
you
was
in
very
Ultraman.
funny. Yes, he did. He's sweet. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's a really nice guy. Yeah.
So like, what was like being directed under him on and working on Ultraman? Because I know it's like a CGI anime type style.
I really felt like he did me a favor because he
Yeah.
just brought me in, and I think I felt like we hadn't seen each other in a long time, and he was
Yeah.
just like, you know who I haven't seen? Erin Fitzgerald. I'm gonna bring her in, and he just, he did me a solid. That was like, that felt like it was a kind hire,
Yeah.
like that was just a nice thing for him to do. I really
Yeah.
appreciated it, and it was really not. It was he had overcome a really terrible illness, and
Yes, he
so I
did back in
hadn't seen
2017.
yeah, so I hadn't seen him in a while, so we got to catch up, and it was nice to see him and to see him doing so well. And so that
Yeah.
was, yeah, that was a nice job. That was a really nice job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you play like a various additional voices too,
yeah,
a
I
couple of
did.
recurrent. Yeah, so it's like
Yep.
another fun time playing around with your character voices.
That's what I do. Utility girl.
And again, being such a prolific actress, you also coach and teach the craft to the next generation of actors in the voiceover world. You do an
I never
amazing job.
thought I would. I
Yeah,
never thought I would. I always thought like, oh, who am I? I'm not qualified to teach people nothing. But then Chuck Duran and Stacey Aswad, for anybody who's getting into voice acting at all, you should be watching VO Buzz Weekly on
hmm
YouTube, which is Chuck and Stacey's show, because they give you the ins and outs, and their interviews are with like the top AAA like
yeah,
agents, and like they get like, they're very informative, and they come at it from as professionals in the industry with
yeah,
professionals in the industry. So their show is just amazing. So I don't know how they heard of me and they
yeah.
invited me to be on their show, but they did. And then when I got on their show, Stacy and Chuck and I became very good friends very quickly because we were like the same type of humans.
Yeah.
And they had just started a coaching site called Open Coaches.
Oh,
It's not up anymore. It doesn't exist anymore. But they were looking for people who wanted to coach just over that site. And I'm like, I don't think I'm not ready for me. They asked me, I'm like, I
yeah,
don't think I'd be any good. But they were like, no, you don't understand. From our interview and you talking about the craft and you understanding the craft, you would be a perfect person,
yes,
because I'm not coming in. I don't coach as an authority.
yeah.
That is not my thing. I know there's more than enough coaches that will tell you this is how you should audition. This is what you need to do. This is the business. This is blah, blah, blah. And I don't buy into any of that, because if all of that worked, then I would work a lot more, in my opinion. I'm
Yeah,
like, if all the courses I took were right, then I would book. My booking ratio would be much higher.
yeah,
But you know what I can teach? I can
yeah.
teach the basics of character creation
Yes, you
for
can.
anybody starting out. I
hmm
can teach you how to create characters. I can teach you how to access your creative imagination in the ways that we have to, that on camera actors can't. So
Yeah,
anybody coming from theater or on camera trying to get into behind the mic, I
yeah.
am the perfect coach. If you've
Yes.
been in the industry for 30 years and you're bitter and jaded, I am the person to reconnect you with your heart and passion of why you were an actor in the first place. That seems to be my specialty. I take a lot of actors who they don't have a passion for it anymore, and I relight the fire with them through these sessions.
I
So is it coaching sessions or is it peer-to-peer workshopping? I don't know, but I know that it's very specific, and I usually do it one-on-one over the internet.
hmm
I don't do it. I sometimes I do workshops, but I don't like workshops as much as I like one-on-one, because then
one
we can
because it's
really get
more.
into what's going on with you
Yeah,
and whether or not I believe your character or I call BS,
yeah.
because I'm very honest about that.
And I think because of your coaching style, I think that's how you help Zeno Robinson reignite his fire.
No,
Oh,
no, I did
okay,
not. I did not coach Zeno. Don't. He
okay,
didn't need coaching. When
okay.
Zeno met me, he was a professional actor, but he just hadn't gone into voiceover. Like Zeno and
Yeah.
I met, we met actually at a Charlie Adler workshop. I was
Oh
taking
wow.
Charlie Adler's workshop. Zeno was there as well. That's where we first met.
Yeah.
And Zeno he was definitely at a place of like, like are things going on? But
Yeah.
his talent was insane, like because
Yeah.
he wasn't new.
Yeah.
I,
He'd
I
been
know
in
that
since
everyone thought like, oh, he's
no.
not new. He had been working forever. Like he was a professional actor when I met him, and he
Yeah.
was really young.
Yeah.
He just was a
Because
young professional actor.
I should tell you this too. The first time I heard Zeno was on the show called Ben 10 Alien Force, where Yuri
Yeah.
Lowenthal was the lead. Zeno was
Yes.
only like 13 or 14 when he had that gig.
Exactly.
So
So,
yeah,
but
so
Zeno had done theater, TV. Like
mhm.
Zeno was an actor.
Yeah,
So I
for
just
sure.
remember meeting him at a place, and I remember after the workshop talking with him, and I knew, like, spirit opened it up, and I
Yeah.
knew I'm like Zeno, this is just a moment. You are about to be huge.
Yeah.
It's coming for you. Have faith. Don't give up. Stay
Yeah.
strong. Because I saw it. I saw it. See, Spirit opened it up. I saw the
Yeah.
whole thing. I told him, and then it came to pass, and I was like, "Yep, I was right.
Yeah. Yes, you
Told
were.
you. I called that."
Yeah.
But I mean, it was obvious for anybody who met him. It was
Yeah.
obvious for any of us because his talent was phenomenal. His talent was, undeniable, no
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, because speaking
He
of
did not
Zeno,
need my help.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you for clarifying that. I apologize
No,
for
that's
that
okay.
misconception. But it's going on Zeno again. He's about to start in this. He's about to be the lead of this show called Digimon, which you worked on many years back with Mary
Okay,
directing. So it's gonna come out. It's still gonna be done in Studiopolis. So he had the lead role in that with Ben Diskin, who I'm pretty sure you know
nice.
for a long time.
Of course.
So
We worked on We Bear Bears together, Ben and
yes, you
I.
did. Yes, you did.
Right after he won it. Oh, was it before he won his Emmy or after? I don't know. But I was I think, like, he's the Emmy winner. Look at Ben. He's the Emmy winner. And he
Yeah.
deserves it. Like, no nicer guy could win an Emmy. I love that
Yeah.
Ben won an Emmy. I think that's so cool.
And one thing about Ben, he's also just like you, a character actor, and his
Yes,
great
he
right.
is.
And the fact that he's very quirky,
Yes, he
friendly,
is.
and a very
Yep.
decent person too, and fun to
And he's
talk
got
with.
the best wife in the world.
His wife is hilarious too.
They're gorgeous. I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then one more name I forgot to mention. I should mention you, and it happened. You worked on this Netflix show called Rillaboom's Magical Theme Park with Wendy Lee directing you. So I think
What magical theme park?
Rillabooma met I got the names Rillabooma Magical Theme Park. Wendy Lee was directing you. It was another session of you doing like additional voices on that show. It was like a Netflix Russian dubbing. It was like a dubbing
Is
show.
that recent?
Yes.
I'm like, dude, that came out already?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It came out like
Okay.
2 months ago because I
I
talked to
feel like I just did that recording session. I'm like, how are we talking about this? Are we allowed to?
yes, yes, you're perfectly
Yes.
fine. No
That
NDA.
was my first dubbing session back after the pandemic. I hadn't done any dubbing since I
Mm-hmm.
think 1999. And so that session was my first one back.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah, I
know,
just stuck to cartoons and video games
yeah.
in the pandemic. Yeah.
And then working on with Wendy Lee, who's been dubbing for an awful
Yeah.
long time. That's
Well,
I know.
Wendy Lee and I worked together on a lot of
Yes,
cartoons. We
yes.
run Monster High together,
Oh yeah,
like,
Monster High. That's the one
yeah.
show I forgot to play. Now, how you worked on that series for a long
9 characters.
time?
9 characters for 10 years.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh. You
Mm-hmm.
like I said,
Yeah.
your utility as a
Yeah.
character actor
Yeah.
blossomed on
Greetings
that
to you.
series.
I am Abby Abominable. Very nice to be meeting you. Spectral guys reporting for Monster High. Bonjour,
Yes,
I
I
am
remember.
Rochelle Boyle. It is so nice to meet you. Have you met my boyfriend, Gareth? CA Cupid. I'm here to tell you hello.
Yeah.
No.
And I'm also going. This is personal for me. I want to say again, thank you so much for your genuine support for the minority groups like Blacks, LBGT. You do a good
Oh,
job.
let's not use the word minority because it's majority, baby.
But you're okay.
Yeah, let's
That's
just
why I like
let's
you.
call
That's
it.
one of the reasons I like you.
Let's just claim that.
Yes,
The
yes,
majority
yes.
groups, people of color that are the majority ensemble. Yes, because you know what, most of my family, not my blood family, but my
Mm-hmm.
family, the majority of them are Black, Jamaican.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I seen the
like everybody.
yeah, I seen a couple of
African, American.
Yeah,
I have
and
a lot of family members that are Black. It is a big deal to me. It's the reason why back in the early 2000s when they had Black roles and they would cast me, which they would cast me as without telling me they were Black roles.
oh,
And I didn't, yeah, I showed up on the job and they were Black. And in my head, the argument was always, do I do this job or do I leave? And if I leave, they're just going to hire another white person to do
yeah,
this job. At least if I do this job, I'm going to actually be thinking about my family and friends who are watching this and how can I, do this in a respectful way. And
mm-hmm,
doesn't excuse me. That was definitely my whiteness making those choices
you're right.
based on that period of time. And I
You're
have
fine.
learned a lot since then.
You're fine.
Um, but and I've walked away from
Yeah,
all of those jobs. Once it's because what those jobs made me do, thank you to those jobs,
yeah,
was collect a list of Black actresses that I then, when I would show up for the jobs, I'd be like, oh, I'm not playing this character, but here's a list of Black actresses you could hire. So
yeah.
I was doing that long before 2020. I had started doing that before 2019. It was around 2016 where I started aggressively doing that because I finally had a list,
Thank
put the
you
list
so
together.
much.
So it was a big deal to me. And I remember pushing it, and it was very much to blank faces, right? Like nobody, I would email the lists out. I'd be like, here's all this Black actors, boopity boop, and
Yeah,
no, and people like not hearing anything from anybody. And then 2020 happened, and can I tell
yeah.
you the emails I got that year? Remember when you sent me that list a few years ago? Do you still have that list? Yeah, it's a lot longer now, but yes, I still
Wow.
have that list. Would you like my abridged list with all the
Yeah.
additional talent
And
that I have met over the years? Yes, I still
yeah.
have it. You're welcome.
Yeah, and back on 20 when 20 back when 2020 first hit, I always I ne- it never crossed my mind why I don't see many black actors in the voiceover world. I feel that maybe because they're not into voiceover, but until I found the
I
harsh
will
truth.
No, you're also right. You're also right because
Okay.
back in 20 because I had Black actor friends in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And so when I would go up for these roles, I would say, "Hey, do you want to audition for these roles to my Black actress friends?" But in the 2000s, Black women were not getting cast on camera enough.
Yeah.
So they were so what my two girlfriends that are my closest girlfriends that are my bestest friends, they
Mm-hmm.
both had said to me at separate times, it's more important right now that I book on camera work because I want to be seen.
Yes.
So a little girl can
Exactly.
see me and be represented.
Mm-hmm.
I understood that. That was
Yes.
before everyone had home studios. That was
Mm-hmm.
before everything. Now, thank you to 2020.
Yeah.
Both of my best friends are now doing voiceover.
Yes, yes,
So it
yes.
took me years to convince them to do voiceover. It took the white people years to want the Black actresses for voiceover, and now it's all coming together. And my happy place is like so. My best girlfriend is in the new series of the Storybots that drops on November 21st.
Oh, that's
She is
awesome.
in my show. She is in it.
Nice.
We are going to this. We get to go to the rap party
Yeah.
in
Oh,
a
that's
couple of
cool.
weeks, and she's not coming as my date. She's
Yeah.
going as talent. She's going as talent.
Major breakthrough.
Yeah, because she is amazing and talented and deserves to be in cartoons and should be in
Yes.
more cartoons, period. But yeah, so a lot of gorgeous, happy things have happened since
Cause,
then.
cause like when I think of black actors in the voiceover world from 10 years ago, I probably can only name like probably a few like Kevin Michaels Richardson, Boba
Yeah, Cree
Lindsley,
Summers. Yeah,
Cree Summers,
yeah, yeah,
who else? John Bentley, and now I can name about
yeah.
30 black actors now, thanks because
Right?
the progression going
All of it,
on.
all of it. Not to mention Black actors, gay actors,
Yes,
trans
yeah,
actors, Asian actors, and
yes,
Asian broken up into actual Chinese actors,
yes,
Japanese
yes,
actors,
yes.
Korean actors, Filipina actors, like really getting into the real representation of it. It's glorious. And can I say, in the last couple of years, I've been playing some Canadian characters, not Sojourn, but like Canadian characters. So I like that I'm being cast as a Canadian finally when I had to hide
Yeah,
my Canadianness when I moved here because nobody wanted to hire a Canadian actor,
right.
which is funny because if you look at all the top voice actors, a lot of us come from Canada. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Oh yeah. Matt Hill.
Well, I'm looking at Jennifer Hale, Eric
Jennifer Hill,
Bauza,
yeah.
Tara Strong,
Tara Strong. And Cree Summer.
David Kane, Cree Summer, David Sobolov.
A lot of talent. The the voiceover community continues to
Yeah,
amaze me. You guys are
yeah,
such great deal of people. You guys
fun. It's
honestly
fun.
love the passion. And the one thing I
Yeah,
noticed,
we do.
like, as much as you love the job, you also make sure your principal is also just as important as passion too. Because even though I love to act, I don't want to cross the boundaries of coming across offensive if I take this job or take it from somebody else. Because you
You know what
know,
the key is? No, the
yeah,
key is communication.
yes,
The key
yes,
is communication,
exactly,
communication. When so what happened with Monster High was at the time when we got hired on Monster High, we were promised all of the cast that agreed to do it because it was supposed to be this little indie web series back when there weren't that many web series going on. It was just
yeah,
starting. And we were told that if this goes somewhere, the show will go union. So a lot of us agreed to do this non-union show because we were told it was going to go union. And so we took a really low payment and
mm-hmm,
then the show hit. It became a huge hit. And so we started trying to negotiate the rates up. Now
mm-hmm,
we lost actors who were like they weren't negotiating up high enough for some actors that left.
yeah,
And then we kept pushing it, pushing it, so that eventually by the time we got to 20, I don't remember, 15 or something,
yeah,
we were getting paid the same that a union actor would get paid, but it still wasn't a union job. So we
okay,
really wanted it to go union. So what they did, so Mattel got rid of the entire production team, brought in new people, told the new production team, said, we're going to make the next movie, but you have to take half the pay you were getting paid, half of what you were getting paid.
mm-hmm,
To which most of us said, no.
mm-hmm,
We built this and it was at the top. We had Comic-Con panels every year.
yeah,
It was the most popular show.
yeah,
We had released a whole bunch of movies. It was really getting tread and we had
yeah,
built it as a team together, all
right,
of us.
yeah,
We built it together. So to have first of all, to fire the entire production team, which was
yeah,
the reason you had the show in the first
yeah,
place, and replace it with a bunch of people who don't know the show. They were
yeah.
also redesigning the dolls that year because
Uh,
they were literally sabotaging their own stuff. And so
yeah,
I that was the year I had to walk. Now I was in the middle of negotiating with them, trying to get them to keep me when they put out auditions for my characters.
yeah,
And I posted over social media, please do not audition for my characters. I'm in negotiation with them. They'll
right,
never tell you that.
yeah,
And at that time, actors were not paying attention. Some listened.
yeah,
I got a lot of private messages of like, I
yeah,
promise I won't read for it. But,
yeah,
the person who ended up, working, the people who ended up getting cast did not receive my message. They did not
yeah,
hear me say, please don't, we are in the negotiation process.
right,
And
right,
so majority of us were replaced, majority of us.
mm-hmm,
And it was one of those moments where I was like, I was trying to communicate
yeah,
to all the new actors who are hungry.
right,
This is one of those moments that defines you.
mm-hmm,
This is one of those moments that you want, like, and productions will lie to you. They will lie to
yes,
you to
yes, they
get you to
will,
work for them. They are not going to tell you the truth. You have
yeah,
to talk. So I remember I was on a show. I'm not going to say which one.
no worries,
Actually, I wasn't on a show. Wendy Lee was on a show.
okay,
And the production company that the show Wendy Lee was, she was also directing a lot at the time. And the show called me and said, Wendy Lee's really sick. She can't finish the recording for her character. Can you come in and take over? Now, I do not trust production companies. So
ooh,
I called Wendy and left messages. I mean, they want me to come over today and record all this content. Are you sick? Are you sick? Is this what's going on? Are you sick? She didn't get my message. So hours are counting down, and I'm like, well, maybe she's really sick and she can't answer the phone. So
mm-hmm,
I went in. I recorded everything, which I shouldn't have done. I went in, recorded everything, and as I'm going out of the studio, she calls me. She's like, I'm not sick. I'm like, what? She says, I'm not sick. I was just busy. I was working. I was directing. I told them I wasn't available.
That's shady.
And then I'm like, this is what they told me, sis. And I did it. And feel I have a I feel awful.
Yeah.
This is awful. This is not okay.
Yeah.
So I believe her over production.
Of course.
Because why would she lie?
Yeah.
Right? Why would she lie? So and it wasn't even like I'm guessing they just wanted to get it done. If they wanted to do a redirect of the character, they should have
Yeah.
just said that.
Yeah.
And they should have told her first. Like with Chie, I came in and took Chio, but the actress who played the original Chie in the original Persona 4 had the
Right.
opportunity to go in for the redirect. So the producers were like, we want to go in this direction, and they gave her a shot and stuff, and it just wasn't a
Yeah.
fit. And so
Yeah.
she walked away knowing, all right,
Yeah.
I'm not the person for this new direction. Now
Right.
that's the way to do it as a professional, to
Yes.
say,
Yes.
oh, we're going in a new direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
That's the way to do
I
it.
want to say that
Sorry.
it's a good thing. Oh no, you're fine. Thank you for. It's been a very informative. It's been a pleasure interviewing, but it's a good thing you mentioned that because I remember, the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Well, you worked on it.
I did. I did.
There's this character called Tails.
I know. I remember.
Around the
I
time
was
when,
around. I know all of the dirt that happened around then. I remember.
yeah, around the time when they were first when Sonic Boom was coming out, they had Kate Higgins re-audition for the role of
I know.
Tails.
I was in the room with her. We were there. She was there. Colleen was there. I was there, all auditioning for Tails.
Wow.
And Kate was re-auditioning for her own role.
Right, right. That really when I found out when Colleen took it, I'm like, what happened to Kate? Colleen did a great job doing boy voices, but how come all the other
I
actors
don't
were
know.
yeah,
I
it's
don't
like one of
know.
those things. And then when Colleen explained that when she told Kate about it, Kate, Kate was fine with it, it's like, oh, you're fine, I'm
Yeah,
fine.
Kate lets go of things really quickly and
Yeah,
doesn't take things personally. But she's from the generation where this kind of crap happened. She was the lead in Monster High when we
yes,
all got
yes.
axed from Monster High.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That has happened to Kate a lot. And so Kate's attitude, she's from the South, is she's
Yeah,
class all the
Virginia.
way.
Mm-hmm.
She's always class. Class, 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 class. So
Class.
she's just like, she'll just keep it moving, right? She books leads. She is a leading female actress.
Yeah.
And nobody can touch her performance. You can't,
No.
like, it's different. It's a different performance. So I love Kate so much, but they do her dirt. They've done
Yeah.
her dirt in this industry. And to take her talent, like, her talent is, she was Barbie. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? She
Yeah.
was Barbie, and they
Yeah.
did the same thing. They have done that to her so many times. She's just a class act and a professional all the way.
For sure.
But I think it's shady and dirty.
Yeah,
Period.
I understand, and not to mention she's a talented singer too.
Oh, insanely! I have her albums. I'm not kidding. She's really
Yeah,
good.
I'm not gonna lie.
She
I remember she shared the story. She made this song as her character Sakura from Naruto. It's called "Waiting on My Heart."
Yeah, I've heard it.
Yeah, she apparently Viz Media didn't like it so much, so they had to take down the music video on her YouTube channel. I'm like, she ain't used the character's name. She described it.
You are so lucky to have Kate Higgins do a song on your, like, it is. I feel like this industry has not treated Kate Higgins with the respect she deserves, and she's a queen in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I have watched her. I remember I did replace her on a cartoon. I think it's because she just didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
I know I contacted her because it was just like a dub for something. She was busy working on something else. Yeah. So, but my rule of thumb is communicate. If you're an actor and it's a role that already exists that another actor has made famous.
Yeah.
If another actor made that role famous, if that character is famous and you know who that character is, like I didn't know who Chie was when I went in to play her. I had never heard of her. But if the characters are famous already, talk to the original actor. You can get their information. They are on social media. Send them a message. I have sent so many private messages to actors saying, hey, did you know your character is being sent out as an audition? Get your agent on it now. There's some and most of the time their agent is in negotiation with that company. If a famous character is out for audition, that means that the original actor is probably in negotiation
Yes.
trying to get more money so that
Hmm.
they get, because they've made that character
Yes,
famous
yes.
like John
Like,
DiMaggio did.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yes,
that
yes. We talk
situation.
about Fort Bender, that whole discrepancy with that. I'm glad that
I
they managed.
love that that came out on the internet because
Yes.
that has been happening to us for years. That's exactly what happened to me in Monster High.
Hmm.
Exactly. And so, and Kate on Monster High, and all of the other actors on Monster High, that exact same thing happened to us. And can I just say, after all
Yes.
of the negotiations we did with Mattel about Monster High, and they said they
Hmm.
would never go union, never go union, never go union, the
Yeah.
new series went union, almost as an FU to the entire cast who
Wow.
built it. Now Monster High is union.
Yeah.
After we fought for 10 years to make that dang show union.
That's
So I'm
crazy.
really happy for the current actors. They deserve that union
Yeah.
rate. I'm glad they're getting it because otherwise I don't trust that, I don't trust nothing because that was
Yeah.
really shady, really dirty,
Yeah.
really dirty.
And a couple of actors, speaking of another situation happened with Miraculous Ladybug in the venture
I
of,
walked away from that for the same reasons.
yeah, because I remember another season actor, Joe Ackman, was fine to keep his role, but he wanted better rates to continue on playing the
Oh,
role.
oh, let me tell you,
Okay.
Miraculous Ladybug, when I first went in, was a dub series. So,
Yeah.
dubbed, the definition of dub is that it was already recorded in a foreign language and we are
Mm-hmm.
recording over that foreign
Right,
language.
right. It was definitely a
When I
dub.
went in, the first season, the roles that I played, it was a dub and we were recording it as a dub. And that dub rate is the dub rate that was agreed upon in the entire universe. So I had no problem working because that was the standard dub rate.
Yeah.
There was no negotiating that. Then they started giving us lines, and there was no original French track. When
Mm,
there's no original French track, that means we're doing prelay.
relay.
That
Yep.
means we're recording
First.
original
Mm-hmm.
animation, to which I'm like, this is shady, guys.
Yeah.
I'm doing prelay now. I need to be paid prelay rates.
Leeway rates.
And
Yes.
when they came at us
Mm-hmm.
with the prelay
Exactly.
rate, that was a quarter of what I was used to getting for prelay. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
even in non-union, I'm like, this is standard prelay rate, and they were giving us half of that, and that's when I walked because I'm like, I can't
No.
do this
No.
for that rate. That is a
Exactly.
trash rate. So I
Exactly.
left a long time before everybody else kind of left. But
For it. Yeah.
I know what they were getting paid trash. They were getting paid trash
It,
for
it
prelay. For prelay, they were
Prelay.
getting
Yeah.
paid
For
trash.
prelay. And the show
Mm-hmm.
has been successful for a long time too.
Yep.
And
And so then those actors get to experience what it's like.
yeah.
I mean, it seems to be an initiation process.
Yeah.
You make a series famous, and then you find out how much the industry doesn't care about you. They
Yeah.
fire all of you, bring in brand new people that they can pay less,
Yeah.
and then the IP suffers a little bit, but it keeps
Hmm.
going.
Yeah. And some
Nuts.
situations it's a little opposite. The pay rate is opposite when when they bring in celebrity actors to play these animated roles, especially
Oh, the salt,
you're
the salt.
I don't want to get into
I'm
it
not a
because
fan of celebrities playing roles that because the actor is a celebrity. The actor
yeah,
who established that role and made that role famous is
yeah,
the celebrity,
yes,
and the fans know that voice.
yeah,
It's crazy to me when I get salty over that.
yeah,
I get salt. I don't like and I remember I got so many people dishing me salt for for being like, oh, why are you so salty about it not giving new actors an opportunity to take over somebody's role? I'm like, because it's not their role.
it's not their role. I
Let
mean,
that actor book a job on their own.
and speaking of
Taking somebody else's role is not breaking into the voice industry.
no,
You're literally copying
yeah,
an original actor who's still alive, by the way, and can still do that job.
yeah,
And one day you're going to make a character famous and they're going to not want to negotiate with you,
yeah,
and the karma will come round because
mm-hmm,
it always does.
yeah,
So it's better to support it at the beginning and
yeah,
always push for the original. Now, if an original actor doesn't want to do it, or they can't do
yeah,
it, or they feel it's not a fit, or
yeah,
whatever, like all the black characters I walked away from. And then I handed the list and I'm like, and here's the actors you should do. Like that's a clean break. That's a
mm-hmm,
please welcome the new actor. I have stepped away from the role. I am announcing I am out.
Yeah,
Embrace the new actor. Though
exactly.
that's the way you do it. That's the way you do it.
And speaking of black actress, especially celebrity, I know you know who what's her name? Eartha Kitt.
Arthur, queen,
When
queen,
her voiceover performance
original
as Ease,
Batgirl.
yeah, her voiceover performance as Yzma was the
Catwoman. Catwoman. What
Catwoman.
is it,
Yes,
Batgirl?
Catwoman.
Catwoman. Catwoman. I've got
She
like the
was
1960s black kitty cat. Yeah,
she had so much class performance, the
so much. Well,
cadence.
she has chops. Chops. Shakespearean chops. Yes. James Earl Jones, who is not on
Yes,
the poster for the
yes,
original
yes,
Star Wars movie, but his
yes.
character is the biggest character on the poster.
Mm-hmm.
His name is not on the poster.
Yeah, yes. And then when the Sonic 2 movie came out with the poster, Colleen's name was not on it, even though her character tells us to have a big role. And then another black actress, Tika Sumpter, her name was on, even though she had a major role. It's like, why are we like still like backtracking and trying to tell you guys why is something we telling you this should have been there in the first place? You know what I mean? Especially when a major role.
But the advancements we've had as
Yeah.
actors behind the mic because of the fans,
Mm-hmm.
like the fan relationship with actors behind a mic is such an
Yeah.
important one. I can't stress this enough. It's
Mm-hmm.
your voices that have forced them to pay attention and negotiate with us. John DiMaggio would not have gotten that job if the fans didn't vocally stand up for him. What's going on with Bayonetta?
Yeah.
That is an
Yeah.
important thing to note. I know the actress that replaced her didn't know what was going
Yeah.
on.
Jennifer
I
Hale.
know
Yeah.
I know because
Yeah.
Jen is a
Mm-hmm.
good friend of mine and she's an advocate. So I know production lied to her.
Yeah.
I know
And
production
you
lied
know
to her.
what? The director is such a shady person that he started massing blocking anybody on Twitter questioning his
Yeah.
ideal, and then
And I know he lied to Jen because Jen would never
mm-hmm.
ever, she would have a conversation first. So the fact that yeah, so I it's that type of thing. It's the fans that really help out when
Yeah.
we're in these pickles, and because of social media the game has changed for us. We have
Yeah.
more negotiating power than we ever have had.
Yeah.
So but honestly, personally, I just stop working with people that are shady.
Yeah.
I just start saying no. I don't work with the studios that do dirt to actors.
Yeah.
If I know that they do dirt, I don't work with them. I say
Yeah.
no.
No.
So if you
Because
look at the studios and the credits that I've had the last few years,
mhm.
that tells you the good studios to work for.
Yeah. And YAV post.
Yes.
Erin, this past 90 minutes of talking with you has been a true blessing. You're such a resourceful,
This is
talented
a great
person.
conversation. Thank you for having
You're welcome.
me. Like
I had a
I don't
great
even feel like this isn't an interview. You and I just had a great chat. This is a
yeah,
great chat.
even though
And you're so knowledgeable and so prepared, and it's so interesting, and you brought up so many really great points. I'm really grateful. You're a really great I hope your show does really well. I hope you have huge success. You're
thank
very
you.
good at this.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I want to thank Chris for inspiring me to do this because the reason
Hey.
the reason why he does this right now and still does because at conventions not a lot of fans ask the ideal kind of questions because they sometimes give you like the runaround questions and you're trying to figure out an answer.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason. So like if I manage to book a talent that I want to interview, I'm gonna make sure I ask the questions that I know they have the answer to, and also get them worth their while and care about the other things that they don't usually talk about in public events like conventions and whatnot. And
Yeah.
that's what Chris
Yeah.
does a fantastic job. And the reason why he asked the SAG actor question is his signature question because he really do cares about how much you guys are worth in this industry for sure.
Yeah. All artists get taken advantage of by
Mm-hmm.
corporations.
Yes.
All of us. Artists, painters, designers, programmers,
Mm-hmm.
all artists.
Yep.
We all got to support each other. We have to.
And
believe the artist. That's where I'm at. Believe the artist.
And I will always be a fan of you as a person and as an actress for what you contribute the past 25 going on 30 years. You are an amazing person, Erin. Thank you so
Thank you,
much
thank you,
for
thank you.
what you've done so far. And I'm expecting to hear another 25, 30
Hey!
years.
I want a June foray career. I want a June foray career. Make it till I'm 96. I'm still recording. What do you want?
Yep. And before I go, I'm gonna stop recording because I gotta ask you something. It's a little favor, so I want to say thank you so much, and hopefully I will meet you formally at a convention.
Hey, I would love that. That would be amazing. Yes, please.
Yes, I definitely will look forward to that, and I will let you know by email for sure. And once hold on for a minute, so I want to say a quick goodbye. Say bye.
Bye.
All right.